Maybe we'll have one here, Nelson.
Well, I hope so, Chris. Probably the greatest thrill we've ever had in professional bowling, the 300 in McCordy. Not even eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And I guess second only to that 300 game would be a victory in the Firestone. It's left down to just two men. Pete Weber, whose father has finished second twice in this tournament, and Jim Murtishaw, who took the lead in the last 8 games last night. Let's see what happens.
He is unbeatable when the adrenaline gets flowing. He starts out again with that powerful strike bow.
Very much so, Chris. And here's a methodical young man who has gone about his business very quietly. He's bowling as well as anybody I've seen in the tournament. In the qualifying, I had the pleasure of following this man on my qualifying pair. He just never made a mistake all week long.
Look at that. The current Southern California Bowler of the Year from Vista. Only his 4th television appearance, and as we indicated, his first Firestone after a victory in Venice.
Chris, a 4.5-step delivery, just an ideal textbook style. Just tremendous. He's gained a lot of confidence with that victory in Venice, and as you said, Southern California Bowler of the Year, and that doesn't come lightly. Glenn Allison, Barry Asher, just to mention a few who have won that title before. Some great champions before him. Now, with 9 frames left, the Firestone in hand, both players are perfect.
Sliding by, leaving the 2-5-8 on the left lane.
The ball just sliding by, the head pin going to the sideboard. Is once again we see the left-hand lane being the story of the opponents, really, of Pete Weber. They have not been able to get out to a quick start as Pete has the last 2 matches because of their inability to strike in the second frame on the left-hand lane. Mark Roth left the 2-8, and here the 2-5-8 by Murdishaw.
The man that was going to give it all up. He's going to give the tour up until he won in Venice, traveling with his wife Anita and his son Matthew. He is a credit to the game, Jim Murtishaw. And of course, a win today would make Pete Weber the 1987 money leader.
He would also surpass his father's lifetime earnings. Pete just at the tender age of 24.
But he has a long way to go to surpass his father's great contribution to the game.
That's for sure. Dick Weber, obviously one of the greatest bowlers of all time. I'm sure he's home watching and rooting for his son as Pete sends that shot errant, and obviously the wildest shot so far today on the right-hand lane. The 1, 2, 4, and 8 pins to convert. Oh, no. Look out.
Oh, and there. A chink in the armor.
Well, Pete Weber with that great strike ball has finally made a mistake today as the ball slides by the 1, 2, 4, and 8, leaving the 1 and 8 pins. He has 26 pins through 2 frames. Murdishaw has 20 in the first spare up, has a 14-pin lead. The key, Chris, is to see how Weber comes back. You cannot let a wild shot or one bad shot affect your bowling in the other frames ahead.
Just amazing how they do come back.
Good concentration. Weber collects his thoughts and just grills all 10 pins in the pit.
Here, the title is the thing. One of the 3 major titles available for these professionals. To the winner, 50 grand. To the runner-up, 28. A high hit, and lucky to get by with the 3-6.
Chris, you said 50,000, obviously a lot of money, but the other 2 titles, the PBA National and U.S. Open, pay 49 and 100,000 respectively. But a 5-year exemption into this tournament comes along with a title, and last place in this tournament is $1,600, so that's an additional 8,000 if you just show up the next 5 years.
All right, that's a spare for Jim Murtishaw, the 33-year-old professional from Vista, California. 1 victory to his credit. That's how he got into this year's Firestone, winning the Bowler's Journal Open in Venice, Florida. At the bottom with the red tie, that's Dick Evans, who won all the Bowling Writer Awards this year, it seemed. veteran from the Miami Herald. And only the 5-pin stands, an 11-pin lead by Jim Murtishaw.
And we'll go back to remember this pin action right here is he gets away with an easy spare of the 5-pin instead of something like the 2, 4, 5, and 7 or the 2, 4, 5, 8. 3-pin difference in count, which leaves 11 instead of less than 10, which is easy to make up, and a much easier spare to go into the first break in the action with 11-pin lead.
Okay, still early in this championship match at the Firestone in Akron, Ohio, Riviera Lanes. We'll have more of it following this message. All right, the man in the fuchsia shirt from Florissant, Missouri. Live coverage here at the Riviera Lanes. Pete Weber trailing by 11, but he has a strike up in the third, shooting now in the fourth. He's won 3 games, talking to himself. He trails by 1. And Bo, we're fortunate to be in the PBA Hall of Fame, and we welcome the new inductees here in '87.
Monday night at the banquet, the great Mark Roth, Jim Godman, Masters title and 2 Firestones to his credit. One of my good buddies, Bob Strampy, bowled on the same team with him. He carried me to a lot of titles. And the man who put up the money for the original Firestone tournament champion, the brilliant Raymond Firestone, all went in the PBA Hall of Fame Monday night.
Class with a capital C.
Now Weber, 2 strikes working, trails by 1, can take the lead. 5th frame.
Oh, he was down begging for that one. Remember, he had that open frame in the second, and I'm sure his rooters watching on TV thought, uh-oh, but now he's strung 3. This reaction.
Now our tournament leader, Jim Murtishaw, trails by 9, 5th frame, spare working. Let's see how he reacts to the hot string of Pete Weber.
Leaving the bucket on the right lane.
Difficult spares, and Jim Murtishaw took the lead after qualifying in the middle of the pack, and he bowled all 24 games of the final match play over 200 to set a new record. Murdishaw never under 200 in all 24 games, all day Thursday and 16 games on Friday. Now a very difficult spare to stay in arrears by 13 pins.
And there gets the 2, 4, 8 and the 5, and it's a big open. Sad for Anita, his wife.
Murdishaw's eyes, he's saying, hold up, ball, don't chop it. Doesn't seem too perturbed about this. Trails by 24 pins, but half the game is still left, and strange things have happened in the Firestone Tournament Champions. It's time for Murdishaw to go to the whip.
Now a 2, 4, 5 on the left lane for Jim Murtishaw of Vista, California.
And I say Murdishaw the whip, Chris. We have a race that goes to the whip right after us, and then obviously the great Kentucky Derby next week. My pick in that is Gulch. I love the name. The horse can run.
113th running. So after an open, it is a spare in the 6th frame for Jim Murtishaw, the tournament leader, who's been watching up until this match while Pete Weber's won 3 games. Mike Albee, Mark Roth, and Art Trask, the victims. Now 3 in a row, shooting in the 6th, leading by 24. Four-bagger. There it is, the 113th running of the Kentucky Derby at historic Churchill Downs in Louisville. ABC's tremendous coverage will start at 4:30 live Eastern Time. Dee Dee and Nicole.
Pete, commanding lead, 4 strikes in a row, 34 pins, 7th frame can extend to 44.
Five in a row. And Didi is fired up. Nicole is right in there. Look at that intensity.
The power of Weber, the 1, 3, 5, and 9. The 6-pin stays on the lane, drives out the 10. He has Murdishaw on the ropes. There's nothing to hold back for Jim Murtishaw. Pete Weber right now going at a 226 pace. Murdishaw would need at least 5 strikes in a row to be in the 220s.
And he leaves the 6-10.
Reminiscent of 3 years ago when our tournament leader, Bob Hanley, who had done so well all week long, came out and was just completely confused on this championship here, 27-28, bowling a dismal 140 game. Murdishaw, not quite that low, but has really struggled. He's only had 1 strike through 7 frames.
This was the man that was trying to duplicate the feat of Mark Williams a couple of years ago, who came in his first Firestone and won it. It's Herculean assignment, isn't it?
That's for sure. We've said time and time again, the tournament leader that has that aggressive style, the speed, the flair, seems to do much better from the #1 position than the stroker. Murdishaw, a stroker-type player, is struggling right now.
And there's a pro that had 24 games of match play with scores of more than 200 every game, winning 15 of 24. Great record for him, but this was the thing he wanted most. 5 in a row for Weber now.
He can salt it away with an additional strike here in the 8th frame.
Leaving a 10-pin, the man that's been in the finals of all 3 major championships this year, 2nd in the United States Open, 5th in the PBA National Championship, Toledo Trust in Toledo.
Pete Weber's task is to mark in the 8th, 9th, and 10th frames to lock up this championship. There's a mark right there in the...
Now, we said this is a 23rd edition. Some of the other champions, quickly how they finished. Holman 7th, Cook 8th, Stepanich 10th, Berardi 14th, Durbin 44th, Williams 40th, Petraglia 36th, Anthony 30th, Webb 22nd. So it is a true field of champions, Bo.
Everybody has to win a title to get to the Firestone. Pete Weber standing on the threshold of bowling's best reward, the Firestone Tournament Champion.
Leaving another 10-pin. I'll tell you, there are 2 people in our truck today that never left us in the lurch, never left us any 10-pins or splits, and I'm speaking of our 2 producers. Carol Letty, observing today, and the great Peter Lasser, doing as done so often, bringing you all great coverage. The 2 of them, we salute them. What a joy to work with them.
Now, Jim Murtishaw, strike up in the 8th. Must strike on this ball to have any chance. If he doesn't strike, Pete Weber, lock winner. Somebody in the crowd yelled at Chris, "Come on, Jim, stay alive." That 10-pin ended any doubts on who was going to win the Firestone. Pete Weber has done, at the age of 24, what Dick Weber Sr. could not do in his whole career, and that's snap off a Firestone Tournament of Champions. Tears coming into his eyes. It's nice to win it early. Just enjoy a few moments right there in front of 20 million people.
And he wins his 10th title, youngest ever to win that money. And his total earnings for this year, $149,825. Pete Weber does it.